Thank you, Ellen. Hey, happy belated New Year to everybody out there. We appreciate the time for you to join us today. Like Ellen said, quick overview. We're going to do, Scott Haley and I are going to do an overview of AgentSTAR, which is basically a system that was built and continues to be maintained by AireSpring Communications. In there, we are also going to show you folks how you can do real-time quoting in the QuoteSpring module of AgentSTAR. And we'll go into a little bit deeper dive on that. In addition to that, Ellen mentioned we have what's called a real-time order status tracking system called DAX. Now, please don't ask us what DAX stands for. I've been with the company for 12 years and I still don't know what that means. But the good news is you are able to track orders. So we'll touch on that a little bit as we get through the applications. Also want to touch on Air Network Monitoring Services, our Air NMS service that we provide with our circuit applications. So we'll do a little bit of a deep dive on that. After that, we'll do some Q&A. At the end of the presentations, folks, we ask you to hold your questions and then go ahead and put a note out there on the webinar itself, and we will handle your questions. If we cannot answer your questions, we will absolutely document them, take them down, and we will follow up with you. After that, we will do a company update talking about some of the promos we've got out there and some of the things that we're planning to do as it relates to representation at different events, okay? So with that being said, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Haley.
I'm here. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Ellen.
Scott, the floor is yours.
All right. Welcome, everybody. So this is the AgentSTAR homepage, and just going to go through and kind of make sure we can cover kind of what's here, what's not here. So always right here is the current promos. So if we've got our monthly spiffs promos, special promos going on, all that kind of stuff is there. In the center is always going to be monthly training, and then either above or below it, if it's listed yet, it'll also be our SD-WAN SASE Bootcamp, which happens every month. And you can actually click on it, and it will take you to a screen to actually register for either one of those events, just like today's event that we're doing. Then over here on the right, where you've got events, this is just some up-and-coming events. It's not everything, but it's just some things that are out there. You've got IT Expo coming up here in 2 weeks. You got channel partners happening in March. That's all right there. You can actually register for those below. And Joe, I can't move the screen down. You have to do that. So here's just some videos. We've got some more areas for videos as well, but we've got here, right here, we've got some of the most recent webinars that we've done, the agent trainings. So these are all the most recent ones. Go ahead and go back up, Joe, to the top of the screen. And then on the far right, a little further up, and then on the far right here are just some escalation lists. This is our AireSpring Advantage escalation list. That's the list that goes all the way to the CEO as far as escalations. Partial customer list. If you click on those, they're hot links. It'll pull up a PDF that you can download. So just a few things there. Channel sales territory map. There's other places you can find that as well, but it's right there for you. If you'll go back up to the top for me. So this bar right here, we're going to go through several of these. We're going to go pretty quickly. So if you've got specific how-to questions on certain things, we want you to get with your regional channel manager because they can literally walk you through it. You're not going to remember everything we talk about today, obviously. So Joe's going to come back after I'm done. He's going to actually show you how you can do a live real-time quote if you want to do some of your own quotes. Obviously, you can always send quote requests directly to your regional channel manager, and they'll do it for you, turn it around typically the same day unless there's something unusual about it. So this drop down here is for rates and forms. So the first one is rate sheets. So if you have a question about rates, let's say you want to look at connectivity, you actually can click on any one of these. If you click on it, I'm not going to do it, but it's live. It'll actually pull up an Excel spreadsheet, and it'll have all of the rates, everything that's in there, every level of service. It's really good. So it's got all of our services, connectivity, our global services, voice and UCaaS. We've got our AirPBX platform, our 8x8 information, our SASE and security information. Everything's in there. On the form side, you really won't use this very often, but if you need a certain form, there's a bunch of categories here. You could pull up anything related to connectivity. Just click on the hot link. It'll load anything sub that's underneath it. Most of these forms you don't have to worry about, because when it comes time to prepare paperwork for an order, you're going to request that your channel manager do that for you anyway. So they're going to prepare. They'll have all the forms in that order. But if you ever need anything, it's here for you. We're going to spend a little more time on resources. This is where I think you would spend most of your time if you're not doing your own quotes. So there's a drop down for everything. We're going to lightly touch on some things here. So if you click on it, these are real case studies. These are full case studies that have been done. You can download everything to a PDF. Just click on the download. It'll download for you. If you need contacts, if you ever need a channel sales territory map, this will be the latest one that's there. You can also go to our website under partners, and it'll also be there that you can download or see it visually on the screen. If you need our SE team, it's right here. Download it. All these are PDFs. Same thing with the escalation list. This is the escalation list. I think most of you are familiar with. It is the list that it's got every major department in the company, and so it starts at level 1. For example, let's take customer service. Level 1 is customer service. If for some reason you're not satisfied with the service you're getting at that level, you go to level 2, which is actually the supervisor for customer service. And it actually shows their phone numbers, real email addresses. And it goes all the way down, typically 7 levels, all the way to the CEO if you ever have to get to that level. This is a really good form right here. This is installation and order flows. So if you have questions or your customers want to know kind of what to expect a little bit, so let's pull up hosted PBX. Let's see what happens there. Joe, just dawned on me that we're working off of your screen, so they're probably not going to see
that. Are you trying to download one of the PDFs?
Yeah, it normally just pops up. I just realized we're on your screen, so let's not worry about that.
Okay.
Okay, just know that if you want to see an order flow for each type service, if you click on it, it'll pull up a PDF and it'll show you a complete flow chart from day 1 to expected day of activation. It's really, really good stuff for every single service we have. So the marketing tab has got several things in it. Collateral is where you're going to spend most of your time. And so in that, if you just click on it, it'll actually bring you and show you what's in that page. And then if you want to download something, you just click download. It'll download as a PDF. So we could go to data sheets. This is most of the multiple page, 1 or 2 page, 3 page collateral. So any type of service that you want. So it's done alphabetically. So numeric's going to show up first. You can go through 5 different screens. However, if you know the topic that you want, so let's say, hey, you know what? I want to find out about our Fortinet. It'll pull up Fortinet real quick, just like that. So you can bypass that if you need to. So here's some partner branded material. So these are some of the same forms, not every form, but if you pull up these PDFs, in the lower left-hand corner, there is a text box that allows you to put in your name, your company name, your email address, and your phone number. So it can be co-branded in that sense. So that if you send that to a customer, it's got your contact information on it instead of our general sales contact information. If you ever want to see our newsletters, they're all here, same type deal. You can look at them, you can download them, whatever you want to do. This right here, the promotions are usually on our front page, but if you ever want to see past promotions, for some reason you need to see it, everything is loaded there month by month by month. So this right here is training videos. I think you want to pay attention to this. These are not meant for customers. These are meant for you or your sub-agents if you have sub-agents or any of your team. So what these are, these you can see the topic for each one. And you can play the video. Every one of these videos, I think the longest we've got is 3 minutes. Most of them are somewhere between 1.5 minutes to 2.5 minutes. So they're real quick. Just kind of tell you the top advantage for customers. Or if you want to know our history and about our ownership or who we are today. Scroll down a little bit, Joe. Top 6 reasons CIOs would choose AireSpring's Platinum SD-WAN. A video about our global managed SD-WAN products. Again, you could go through every one of these. Business continuity, how we support business continuity for customers, which I think is super, super important. Why multi-service, multi-location customers would want to choose AireSpring. So it's just good little, very short snippet trainings. If you go back to the top for me. User guides. These are for if you've got a customer that says, hey, can you get me a user guide on my 8x8 system? Or if you kept scrolling down, you would have our AirPBX, those kind of things. You can click on it and it'll actually download a PDF for you. And it's just a great little user guide. Sometimes your customers need that. You don't have to wait on us to provide it for you. This is another video section. These are just some, like a call recording demo. This is a 3-minute video on our network monitoring, our NMS platform. This is a really good video. It kind of really talks about the benefits for this. This is something a customer could actually see and you could show. If they've got our AirPBX, it shows the COM portal for that. It's a real short demo, really good stuff. So there's a bunch of information there for you. And then if you want to find some webinar like this agent training, you can go back literally. I mean, we're talking, I can go back 5 different pages, all the way back 5 years to 2019. Every single monthly agent training is there. So if you're looking for something and you want to play it, you can watch it again. Last but not least, we've got some white papers. We're not going to spend some time there, but it's some white papers on different services that we have. Don't worry so much about customers right here. You can pull up your customers by the customer name. Really, you're going to want to do that in DAX. And so Joe is going to show you DAX after he shows you how to do a real-time quote. And then tools. Tools is something that you might be using. So example, this right here, AireSpring Local SIP DID availability. This tells you if you put in a customer's NPNXX, it will tell you if we can port that number or not. That's what it's for. It's a really, really good tool. Now I think we can port probably 98% of all phone numbers in the United States right now. So there's not many that you can't, but just in case if somebody's in some rural LEC, that's typically the only exception when we can't. And then for some reason, if you want to look at look up an NPNXX for a customer, you can do it there. Real simple. Same thing. You just put it in right there. It'll tell you all the information you know, what the LATA is, what the SILI code is, the OCN for it. Tells you all that kind of stuff. So that gives you some of the drop downs. Again, we covered a whole lot real quick, but if you have questions about anything, how to use something or what to look for something or what's important, I really want to encourage you to get with your AireSpring channel manager. They will actually walk you through this. All right, Joe, take it away.
All right, let me see if I can steal that mouse back from you. I think I got it. All right, Scott, thanks. Hey, folks, pretty powerful stuff there. And again, just so you folks know, if you have an agent ID with AireSpring, you have the ability to get access to this site, okay? Regardless of what TSD you're working under, get with your channel manager. If you want to get access to this, you already have it. If you want tutorials and a little bit deeper dive than what Scott gave you, get with your channel managers and we'll walk you through it, okay? Great. So now what I'm going to do is show you another powerful portion of this application, which is in the QuoteSpring module, okay? So if you go to quotes, and I'm only going to stay in 2 areas. I'm going to really stay in the create a quote, okay? But as you can see, you can refresh quotes, you can copy quotes, you can add locations. For a deeper dive in the capabilities of doing quoting, again, get with your channel manager, but I'm going to kind of give you folks the basics of how this works. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to kind of get in the mode of, Daniel Lunstey did a great job of this, almost kind of like you're building a sandwich, okay? I know that sounds kind of crazy, but if we go through it that way, I think you'll get a pretty good feel for it. So let's go in and we're going to go in and do what we call is create a quote, okay? So here's the page that comes up for you, all right? What you do, and by the way, folks, this says both US and international. Please, if you have quotes that are international in scope, please get with your channel manager. This will only give you budgetary on the international side. And now if you want to do budgetary quoting, that's fine. But I think most of us know that when you want to get a quote, you want to get a real-time quote. So work with your channel manager on anything international. But In here is where you're going to, populate the customer information, the name of the customer, a location name, maybe it's headquarters, their physical address, the city, the zip, and put in the state. Now, the MPA, NXX, or the area code in the first 3 digits of their phone number is only optional if you're doing voice applications, or if for some reason this system is having trouble recognizing the address. Okay, so you fill out that information, then you go down here and you say, okay, what are the services that the customer is interested in? As you can see here, the first thing on there is the internet. Okay, they need connectivity. In this case, again, all the different flavors of connectivity we can provide to a customer. All right, all the way up to 10 gig. Okay, and by the way, our terms, you can click all terms. You can do a 1-year term, a 2-year term, or a 3-year term. But my recommendation would be keep it in all terms, because how many times have we had a customer come to us and go, well, can you give me a 2-year price as opposed to a 3-year price? It's already run for you. All you have to do is go back into the quote. Okay, but again, here's all your options. Okay, manage connectivity if the customer is looking to provide voice services with it. Looking for point-to-point. Now, our point-to-point, see there, it's kind of limited in scope in terms of the locations. So if you're going to do a point-to-point, I would recommend you get with your channel manager. Folks, you can do an MPLS quote. The other thing you can do is, let's say the customer already has their network infrastructure, but maybe they want to add SD-WAN, or maybe they want to put AireSpring voice services on top of that application. You can do what's called a customer provided quote, which means customer already has their network infrastructure. We're going to layer on top some AireSpring services, and then of course our wireless applications for our wireless WAN. Okay, now just so you folks know, you can add up to 6 different options on a single quote. Okay, so if you want to look at 6 different speeds, you can look at that. If you want to mix and match, you can look at that. Okay, the limit is 6, and then what you have to do is go in and create a new quote. But in the grand scheme of things, being able to run a real-time quote, it's not too bad, right? Now, what this thing does is once it runs the quote, it reaches out based on the address to all the underlying carriers that we have an API with. Okay, and what that does is that brings back what carrier options are available for those various speeds at that given location. All right, so instead of going through all this and typing it all in, I actually created a quote. So I'm going to go in and view it. Okay, so the quote's already been created, and I only did connectivity for internet. All right, but if you click on the quote, it's going to bring up to you what the quote looks like. Okay, so if you select internet, all right, and and as you can see, I selected both broadband and fast Ethernet. I did a few speeds here. Okay, what it does is it brings up all the options. Okay, now here's where it gets kind of cool. If you look at this, what this does is automatically defaults to the lowest underlying loop provider for each different service. Okay, for example, on a gig 100, which means you're basically doing a gig handoff on a 100 meg circuit, AT&T came up as the lowest cost loop provider. Okay, now here's where it gets kind of cool. If the customer says, well, I've already got AT&T and I want to build in some redundancy, what other options are out at my location? If you click on this little magnifying glass, the system will automatically pull up what other providers are available out there. Okay, here it shows level 3 Lumen. It also shows Spectrum is out there. Okay, so what you can do, it shows Verizon. So what you can do is you can select what underlying carrier you want to use for this application. Now, understand, different carriers have different loop prices. Okay, so the loop pricing may vary depending on the carrier you select. But in this case, the customer's not worried about that. So they're looking at the lowest cost solution. And so that's what we go with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the best underlying provider on a 3-year term for the best price. Okay, and I'm looking at AT&T. Now over here is your port pricing. So there's 2 pieces. There's the loop price and the port price. And you're looking at this going, what does level 3 mean? Well, it automatically defaults to level 3. Folks, here's where you can get very creative with AireSpring. Okay, we have 6 different levels of port pricing. okay? Which means you're the salesperson and you have the pricing flexibility to do what needs to be done to be able to drive a solution to the customer. Now, understand that the lower the level, the lower the price, the lower the residual, okay? These all have different residual payouts to the master or the TSD, okay? What translates to you is between you and the TSD. But what I can tell you is this thing automatically defaults to level 3 with every TSD out there. That means it's 20% residual payout to the master agent. Loop pricing is 10% payout to the master agent or the TSD. That is static. That does not change, okay? The other thing is you have the option of either adding a managed router or not adding a managed router. Folks, I strongly recommend for $40 you add the managed router. We'll get into that a little bit deeper, but that goes into the Air NMS capabilities that we can drive to the customer for them to be able to look at how their network is doing and proactively open tickets, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this circuit and I'm gonna add it, okay? So now we've selected the bread, right? We've got a 100 meg circuit. So what you wanna do here is you're gonna submit, okay? And it's gonna bring up this screen. But if you look over to the right, it says add services, right? So I'm gonna click on submit. Okay, so now we're starting to add the meat and the condiments to the bread, to the sandwich, right? These are all the services that you can overlay on that circuit provided by AireSpring, okay? SD-WAN, you can do all our voice services, including POTS replacement. You've got your Fortinet SASE applications, your Fortinet firewall, also with the SD-WAN. You can do a wireless WAN solution like we talked about, maybe for a backup solution. You can add AirFax. You can do multi-cloud connect. Now, some of these have caveats because multi-cloud connect requires either an SD-WAN or an MPLS private IP solution. So it won't populate, but it does give you the full menu. You want to do an on-site tech. The customer needs caller ID, caller name delivery, okay? Because they're doing voice. They want to do a DTO overflow, or if their circuit fails, they want to be able to route their traffic to another IP address or a cell phone number, okay? Call recording on any voice applications, okay? So this is where you add the stack. This is where you add the condiments to the bread, okay? So let's say this customer, they need some local SIP trunking, all right? Because they want voice. So now this pulls up, and again, look to the right, level 3. Here's where it gets really cool, gang. You can decide a higher residual down to the product level, okay? You can do it at the aggregation level in terms of the bandwidth, but if you think you can get a higher price for our AireSpring local SIP trunking, you can drive a higher price, okay? This is where go ahead,
Joe,
yes.
Can we choose different levels on different products? Like, can the internet circuit have one level and then this have a different level?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Level 3 was for the internet. The voice traffic, you can put whatever level you want. That's why it brings up the drop down, okay? A lot of flexibility in this thing, gang, with the real-time API, with all our carriers that we do business with from an aggregation model. Okay, so let's fill this out. Now they need 50 SIP trunks, okay? Well, you know what? I think I can drive a higher price per trunk. So I'm gonna go to level 1. See how it takes it up, okay? Let's say they need 2 fax lines, which, by the way, folks, we can do T.38 on our network, okay? Now, if you got somebody that's faxing 300 pages an hour, that's not a really good fit. But if you got somebody that's doing, moderate faxing on their applications, we can handle it. DID numbers, they need 200 DIDs. Okay, boom, there it is. It's automatically populated. They got a toll-free number. They've got one toll-free number. Boom, good. Okay, so now let's submit that. Okay, which, by the way, our local SIP includes unlimited outbound, and it gives you 500 toll-free numbers per SIP trunk. So the customer is going to get unlimited outbound LD and 26,000 toll-free numbers as part of their service offering. You need to add more buckets for the toll-free, you could do it right here, right? 1,000 additional toll-free, 6,000 additional, all right? Gang, anything on voice overage is 2.5 cents a minute. Okay, so now let's submit this. Okay, so now I've got an internet circuit and I've got local SIP trunking. Okay, so now let's do this. You know what? I really want to see what this looks like. View PDF, hit submit. Gang, this is what the customer is going to see in terms of the proposal. Okay, 50 local SIP trunks, 2 analog lines, 200 DIDs, 1 toll free, includes the usage, talks about the applications that we can offer. All right, the Air NMS, boom. You've got an AT&T circuit with loop and port, the total MRC at the bottom with a one-time fee of $65 because that's part of the porting for the DIDs and the toll-free numbers, okay? So now let's think about this more. Well, you know what? I think they may need, let's do a wireless WAN backup as part of the solution, okay? Now, we can select on wireless WAN. If it lets me select, come on, let's play nice. There we go. Here's all your different options, okay? Get your non-pooled plans, you get your pooled plans, okay? The other thing that's nice about this application, and folks, we need to start selling more of this stuff. This is a great way to sell backup to a customer. My recommendation would be if you put together a DIA circuit to a client, I would put a managed router on that and I would put some wireless backup on it, okay? Just build a better mousetrap for the customer, okay? In this case, I don't know, maybe they only need the lower end plan, so let's just do this. So we're gonna select that, okay? We're gonna submit this. Oop, I hit the wrong page. Sorry, let's go back. Did it? I don't think it populated. Hold on, sorry about that. Let's do this. Let's go to wireless WAN. Let's select, which one was it? This one. And then you go down at the bottom, you hit submit, okay? Now, you still wanna see what it looks like. Now it's baked in the wireless WAN backup, okay? So if you ever wanna see what the proposal is gonna look like, you can always go to view PDF, all right? But again, okay, so let's say now the customer's like, well, what about, I just want broadband. Go up here, create a new proposal. Okay, they wanna look at, let's give them an ABF price. But you know what? AireSpring's got very, very aggressive ABF pricing. So instead of level 3, I'm gonna take that up to level 1. Okay, and then I'm gonna add the router because we want them to have the Air NMS. Okay, again, you can go back in, create another proposal. All right, now down here, do a view PDF. There's your broadband solution, okay? All kinds of flexibility on this thing. It's a very, very powerful tool. Now, a lot of you folks probably go through the TSDs to get quotes. You know what they do, folks? They put a front-end interface onto this, okay? And they automatically give you the level 3 pricing. I'm telling you, we can put this resource in your hands and you could select the pricing levels and the residual payouts that you want to do to maximize the solution to the customer and maximize the return to you as an agent partner, okay? Very, very powerful tool. Now, when you decide to send documents, I'm not going to do it, but what this can do is if you select the proposal, you can hit send documents, okay? You can do it in the PDF that I showed you, which we recommend. There's some other applications in here. I would stay with the PDF, and now you've got the order form, okay? But here's where it gets kind of cool. You want to do an e-sign? Not a problem. Now, gang, the person you need to send it to is the person that's going to be signing the document, okay? Don't send it to somebody who then tries to forward it to somebody signing the document. If you have any questions about e-sign, get with your channel manager. We will do the e-signature for you, okay? But it does have e-sign capabilities, all right? So let's go up here, we'll do our PDF. So the PDF is going to look exactly like I showed you. The other thing it's going to include is, Scott went back and touched upon all the PDFs for all the products. Every product that you quote, it will include that PDF in the proposal to the customer. So in this case, it'll include internet access and it'll include local SIP trunking, okay? And AirNMS, okay? The other thing it will do, and Scott touched upon it, if you go into order forms and documents, if you're doing connectivity, this form will absolutely be populated for the customer, okay? The AireSpring order form, all right? All they have to do is fill out the credit app in terms of signature. Usually that's all we need, and for them to initial and sign the pages where appropriate, okay? So this system will not only do a quote for you, it will send the proposal for you, okay? Now, you folks are probably sitting there going, security, I'm doing a quote, there's other agent partners out there that can see my quotes, and the answer to that question is no, okay? We give you access, and there's only 3 entities that can see it. You, the TSD that you decide to put the quote under, and your channel manager, okay? So when you have questions about quotes, your channel manager is going to be able to go in, see your quote, and help you walk you through it or verify it with you, okay? Very, very, very powerful tool. The pricing is in your hands. Now, understand, you adjust the pricing down, it has an impact on the residual. You adjust the pricing up, it has a positive impact on the residual, okay? But if you can't get the feel for it, or if you want to try it and run it by a channel manager, do so. If you don't even want to mess with this thing, and you just want to tell your channel manager, I need pricing for this service, they will absolutely do that for you, okay? Now, let's talk about multiple locations. If you've got a customer with multiple locations, let's not try it here. It has the capability to do it. Get with your channel manager. If you've got a 5 location, 6 location customer, send that information off to your channel manager. Now, folks, they're going to use this system to generate it, but it gets a little bit more complicated in terms of downloading, okay? So if you have a multi-location quote, get it to your channel manager, all right? I think the other thing we wanted to touch on was DAX, okay? I'm going to show you, there's not customer information in here because it's not populated, but so what I want you to do is take a look. If you click on DAX, okay, first of all, the username and the password for DAX the first time you get in is the same thing for AgentSTAR, okay? But what DAX allows you to do is look at real-time installation information as it relates to your customer. So if you type in the customer's name, you hit search, it's going to bring up all the information associated with that install. The name of the customer, what they subscribe to, what the pricing is, who the project manager is from AireSpring, who's the implementation engineer, all the email correspondence between our implementation team and the customer, and if you want to be CC'd on it, all documentation is put into this system, okay? So folks, when you call your channel manager and they go, hey, who is my project manager on this install? Folks, they go to this database, okay? What they do is they type in the customer name, they look it up, and they send you a note. It's, Regina Target, and here's her contact info. You want to skip that step? You could do it right here, okay? Pretty powerful stuff. I love this system. I've been working with AireSpring for 12 years. It just keeps getting better and better, okay? And like Scott said, not only is it a powerful pricing tool, this thing is an awesome resource tool, okay? Awesome resource tool, okay? So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. So I think I got to stop sharing. And then I got to pull this up. And then let's go to sharing. Okay, so let's go down here. Oh, that's too far. Let's go back. Okay, let's talk about AirNMS, all right? We talked about it. This is what it does, okay? It goes into our AireSpring Network Operations Center, which, folks, by the way, is 7x24, and it monitors all the AireSpring WAN networks, okay? And third-party circuits with SD-WAN. But our NOC is a very powerful application, okay? Now, with AirNMS, because we provide the managed routers solution to the customer, 98% of our tickets are proactively opened before a customer even calls us, okay? They get notified through the AirNMS application via email that says, you got a circuit down or you got a circuit taking hits, okay? We automatically open up the trouble ticket. Now, you folks are probably sitting there going, why isn't it 100%? Gang, some customers just don't want our routers, okay? It happens with the routers. Not only you get AirNMS, you get free, obviously it comes with software upgrades if the routers need them, and we do advanced replacement. If the router goes bad, we map the IP address, we ship one out, and they replace it. So it comes with more than just AirNMS, but some customers, they just like to keep their own routers. That's why we're at the 2%, okay? I talked a lot about it. It monitors the circuits. It's accessible from a browser. It's a single pane of glass, all this stuff. Folks, what this does is it gives the customer a peace of mind that says, hey, I've got my carrier, my partner, monitoring my network, pinging it periodically and recognizing it. If something is wrong, they're going to proactively get after it to try and work to fix it before I have to call in, okay? Now, understand that our answer time in our repair team is less than a minute. The last one I saw was about 50 seconds to get to a live person, okay? But again, very powerful stuff. It gives the customer a peace of mind. Layer 1 through 3 monitoring. Again, we're an aggregator. We're carrier agnostic. We got a public IP address on that. We're going to get there, okay? But again, it measures everything associated with it. And it keeps up to a year of data out there for the customer to go back and take a look at, okay? Very, very powerful tool. We've talked about this, third-party devices. Gang, if the customer has their own router, we have a way of monitoring it, but we have to go through our special pricing and understand they're not going to get the reporting capability that they would through our full AirNMS application, okay? So understand that if you have a customer that's adamant, now one-offs, we probably won't do, but if you have a multi-location customer that already has routers and they're adamant they want to keep them, we will look at a solution to help with the monitoring capabilities, but they're not going to get the full capabilities of the AirNMS, okay? This is a great sales tool. It's a peace of mind sales tool for the client, okay? Which, by the way, folks, if you need a customer that needs a demo, first of all, Scott did a great job. There's a 3-minute video that does a deep dive into AirNMS, but if you want a demo, get with your channel managers. We have people in our repair team that will get on a call and walk the customer through an AirNMS demo, okay? Some quotes on healthcare customers. Obviously the peace of mind is the main thing, right? The ability to be proactive when something goes wrong, because nothing ever goes wrong, right? Sure. It's telecom, something always goes wrong. So gives them a peace of mind. Just an example of what an alert process looks like. This kind of gives you a sample of what the AirNMS alert looks like. That goes to the end user. In this case, you want to be on the email, it'll send it to you. But again, kind of gives you a walkthrough of what happened, how we engaged, what the steps were. This kind of gives you an overview of what we go through and how the customer or yourself is notified of it, okay? And gang, any step that's made in a repair ticket, you're going to be copied on the email. Gang, I know because I have customers where I said, keep me on the Air NMS. If they have a circuit that's down at a certain location, they are getting notifications, okay? And the steps of what's being done to fix it.
Hey, Joe, can I ask a question? This is Scott.
You sure can. Sure.
If we're monitoring a third-party circuit, does the customer also get notified if a trouble ticket's placed like this with the other carriers not?
I don't know if the customer has their own router. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, if we're monitoring a third-party circuit.
Yeah, I'm not sure. On SD-WAN, obviously, we'll open up the trouble ticket on behalf of the client. On Air NMS, without the managed router, we would have to double back and see if that's the case or not. If we will.
Okay, we'll find that out.
It's a great question. What we find is, in a lot of circumstances, the customer has the peace of mind with the router because, I mean, the router gets updates, advanced replacement. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot more advantages to it, but it's a good question. We'll
Absolutely.
take back. Okay. I think that's kind of where we're at right now, Ellen. I guess we can open it up to questions.
Sure. Let's see. We actually have Chuck Long, one of our senior solutions engineers, is actually on the call. Chuck might be able to answer some of those questions about Air NMS. Let's see, Chuck, if I can elevate you. Natalie, can you elevate Chuck to a panelist status so he can unmute himself and answer some questions? Now, folks, this was recorded and it's a short PowerPoint, but we'll send you a link to do the play back the recording, and I send that link out to everybody who registers, even not just those who attend. So that will come next week. And as Joe pointed out, or Scott pointed out, it's posted on on AgentSTAR under resources. We do that with all our webinars. So we get Chuck.
Chuck is now unmuted and a panelist.
Okay, Chuck. Chuck, can you tell us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you so much for joining today. So, does AireSpring monitor provided internal network switches and Wi-Fi access points?
Not this much. The Air NMS system is pretty much meant for wide area circuits because it uses SNMP pings from our Netrio system to monitor those three, all day long, all the time. Most of that internal switches and Wi-Fi stuff is behind the customer firewall or behind our firewalls, and we use other systems to monitoring that per se, depending on what they bought for us. And Joe, the question brought up about third party. I believe the current policy, and we could double check if it's different. We'll ping or notify if a loop goes down, if it's not our loop per se or not our router, but it's connected to us one way. We usually try to be nice and, hey, we'll ping you, notify you, but you must open up your own ticket because we're not allowed to open up a ticket on a circuit that's not ours. That's legalese stuff like that, more than technical.
So the long and short of it is we'll ping the customer to let them know the circuit's down and they open the trouble ticket.
Yeah, now with us, once again, the full managed service, the whole, as you were mentioning there, we take care of all of that. So, and of course we do that to give them steps up because, you got ETLs or whatever, but it's very reliable. We've had, now it's almost 10 years old now. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just so we're clear, Chuck, so if they did take advantage of Air NMS, we can or cannot open a ticket on their behalf for a third-party circuit that we don't.
We can't. I believe we cannot open it because it's a legalese type thing. I just can't call in and say Ellen Cahill's house has got problems. You can't. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't see that circuit then. If the third party.
Yeah, but we will be pinging it like it was one of ours.
Right.
When it's our unit out there, then we go in with the SNMP and pull out that bandwidth information, which more and more people are tracking now. That's becoming pretty much a standard. You're not going to buy a wide area circuit from anybody that's not going to give you a monthly or weekly type of reporting access for bandwidth usage and what packet losses you had and stuff like that.
Got it. Okay. So now, how does just quickly, if you can explain how AirNMS differs from the SD-WAN orchestrator, or do they work in conjunction together?
Oh, that's part of the AireSpring advantage. Remember how we used to do the old OSI models? AirNMS watches layers 1 through 3. Orchestrator, remember, the tunnel starts at layer 4. So when you get our loops with the SD-WAN, you're now watching everything all the way up to the application with us. Yeah. Very powerful, as Joe says. But yeah, that's the difference. The AirNMS is just watching your basically point-to-point connectivity on those circuits.
And routers and switches too on there?
Mostly just the WAN side of the routers. Remember, the switches are usually behind the routers in a lot of cases. Right. We don't you don't want access to that because this is over the top. Remember, these are DIA circuits that don't have that SD-WAN encryption protection. So these are just pings going out and coming back over that raw internet to give you, how bad is the traffic on the highway right now, right? That kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, I'm still on the call. If you have additional questions, please enter them into the question window. We had one earlier, Joe, about when you were doing the demo for QuoteSpring. It says, what does AireSpring-N in the drop-down tool refer to?
Yeah, what we've done is we've also brought into our aggregation model NITEL. So if the customer, what we would do is we would subscribe to the circuit from NITEL, who would then work on our behalf as the aggregation carrier to install the circuit. Now, my recommendation with that is let's be very careful with that. I only come across that as a primary circuit application when things are very limited in terms of being able to get to the customer. So if you come across a quote where the default is going to be AireSpring N, which means it's NITEL as the underlying carrier, please do me a favor and drop a note to your channel manager to say, hey, this is what I got. Can you folks do a little bit deeper options to see what's out there? Because folks, understand we have a lot of underlying carriers, but not 100% of them are in the QuoteSpring model with an API. Some of our carriers don't have the sophistication to be able to give us that information that we can map that into QuoteSpring with real-time API. But basically, in summary, the AireSpring N means it's selecting NITEL as the aggregation carrier, the underlying carrier with AireSpring.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
We don't have any additional questions. Let's give people a minute. If you have something else you'd like to ask the presenters today, please enter it into the question window. If not, we can move on to a quick company update.
Okay. You let me know, Ellen.
Yeah, I think we're good. That changes. If someone enters something, I'll interrupt you and let you know. But I think we can move forward.
All right, company news. Folks, we've got an SD-WAN and SASE virtual bootcamp. That's coming up on February 22nd. If you haven't attended one of these, I strongly recommend you do. These are very informative. They're done by Mike Chase. They are a deep dive. They will give you a great overview and the capabilities of what AireSpring can do from an SD-WAN and a SASE perspective. Strongly recommend you do this. So if you have not attended, please do so. If you want to attend another one, go for it, right? Because we can always learn new things.
Yep, you can repeat this as many times as you want. It's a lot of data in here. And we do give you a $50 Amazon gift card as a way to offset your time as a thank you for joining for your first one every year.
Right, got it. As you folks know, we always do a Amazon gift card after all of these training webinars. And last month, it went to Christy Lyon at Pack States, $100 Amazon gift card. Congratulations to her. Nothing like a little C note off the Amazon gift card to be able to spend wisely. So congratulations. Folks, I wanted to touch on this. This is the channel sales map, okay? Up above are the channel leaders. John Young, obviously, our channel chief. An absolutely horrible picture of me, Ellen, and we're gonna work on that. But as you can see across the top, then folks, our channel team. And I'm here to tell you, this team is not shrinking, we are growing. So we continue to hire channel managers today. But this is the map, okay? So look for folks in your region. If you have any questions as to who your channel manager is, please reach out to me or Scott Haley. We will get you to the right folks, okay? But this is the team that's out there to support you, to help you understand a little bit more about AgentSTAR and QuoteSpring. And then, of course, be on calls with clients and rally to resources like Chuck Long, the smartest sales engineer I've ever been associated with. Use our team, folks, okay? Like I said, the AireSpring channel team is ready to roll. But I want you to look at the bottom of this, okay? A little change to our one-time spiffs that we provide out there. I know there was a lot of confusion back in the old days. Well, if it was below a certain speed, it was 1.5 points times the port MRC. If it was above, it's 1 time. We've eliminated all that, folks, okay? Anything that is voice related other than Microsoft Teams, which by the way is 10x on a Microsoft Teams SIP trunk, okay? 10x, I didn't stutter there. All other voice services is 6x on the voice channels, okay? 6x, one-time spiff. And you know what else we did? We cleaned up the confusion on our aggregation and our products, okay? Connectivity, it's 2x, okay, on the port. Not the loop and the port, but the port. We are now 2x. Oh, by the way, broadband, we are now 2x on a broadband, okay? Again, managed security on the port side, 2x. SD-WAN, we are 2x on the SD-WAN application. We're 2x on POTS, and we're 2x on our wireless WAN. Now, think about what we walked through in terms of building the stack, okay? Adding the products, adding the meat and the condiments to the bread, okay? Folks, these things can really add up for you, okay? So we've eliminated the confusion, all right? And if you have any questions on spiffs, residuals, how to price something, get with your channel manager, all right? Which, by the way, we always talk about it, but somehow people always seem to forget it. We're one of the few carriers out there that will spiff on renewals, okay? Once again, reach out to your channel manager or reach out to your account manager. If you don't know who that is, get to your channel manager, all right? People hear this and they're like, really? And I'm like, folks, we've been doing this for a number of years. So let's not forget. Upcoming events, we're gonna be at the Intelisys Amped, January 30th, Dallas, Texas. I know my counterpart, Mike Sullivan's gonna be out there. If you're part of the Intelisys community, stop by, say hi to Mike. Great guy, he runs the other half of the channel team. So we're gonna be well represented. We're actually gonna be in the Middle East, Capacity Middle East, February 6th through the 8th. Our global aggregation, folks, we are getting a lot of traction with that, along with our global SD-WAN solutions. So please, you know, start looking at us from a global aggregation perspective. Mobile World Conference, we actually have an MVNO subsidiary. We do not sell it through the channel, but I want you folks to understand that AireSpring continues to grow the model. Okay, we have a gentleman by the name of David Hess. He is running that shop. So if you see us in, you know, in an MVNO space, that's why. And then of course the Super Bowl of channel, right? Channel partners, March 11th through the 14th. We will have strong representation there. I know there's a lot of stuff spinning around about, are you guys planning to do executive meetings? The answer is yes. We are finalizing the schedule and we will get that out shortly. And I think that's all we've got, folks. So I want to thank you for your time. I hope you found this beneficial. I want to thank Scott Haley, Ellen, and Chuck for doing a fantastic job. And folks, we have these every month. And again, take this information. And if you want to learn more about AireSpring, AgentSTAR, QuoteSpring, AirNMS, get with your channel managers, folks. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you. They're a resource to help you not only understand more about AireSpring, but to help you sell.